Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to this event in the Encode DAO Hackathon with BitDAO. This is our DAO ideation event. What I'm going to try and do today is explain to you a little bit about conceptually what a DAO is and give you some good ideas of what to kind of build in this hackathon. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Encode Club. Some of you know me already, some of you don't. If you ever want to reach out to me, Steve will put my details into chat. Feel free to tweet me, or message me on our Discord. So I'm going to arm you today with basically some ideas, some stuff you could build, and what I would invest in. And I myself aim to invest. Encode has an investment fund. So we're going to kind of give you the ideas that we know have legs, but also show you the small things you could build along the way in this hackathon. And there's plenty of great prizes, which Steve will repaste into chat as well. I'm going to use this kind of whiteboard function. What it allows me to do is kind of explain things as I talk, rather than being kind of a kind of static presentation on the page, which does mean if the conversation goes in any particular direction, we can take it that way and have the notes kind of preserved. I'm fairly fast at doing this, so we can do some fun things with it. So let's first of all start with a simple concept, which is what is a DAO? And this is not obvious, to be honest. I don't know if anyone in chat wants to offer an opinion. What is a DAO? So, okay, good. Oh, it's a decentralized autonomous organization. So when I was at uni, they taught me to define everything. It's a good way to be. So let's define everything. So we've got decentralized, we've got autonomous. Don't know why that didn't go bold anymore. See how fast I can type. And organization. So decentralized here means that it is effectively built on a blockchain. That it's as decentralized as a blockchain is. And what this means is there's no central control. Anyone can access it. It is permissionless. And if no one basically has power over it. This is what we mean by decentralized in a blockchain concept. A great definition, Zuri as well, community governed business using blockchain technology. I'm going to leave autonomous in a moment because that's the thing to unpack. The second keyword is organization. So we mean like something that could itself be like a company or a community. Anything we think of as an organization in modern society, we could have as a DAO as well. Autonomous is this word which kind of maybe needs unpacking. What we mean is governed by code. So the set of rules that govern the organization are themselves governed by code. I think this is kind of very important. So we can do some nice. You can see I'm learning on the spot how to use this new software. Oh, look at this. Looks beautiful. So yeah, it's governed by code. So what we mean specifically here is smart contracts. Oh my God, why are you going up there, son? Specifically, it uses smart contracts, which all of you should be aware of. And in this hackathon, you can use any set of smart contracts, any layer one. This really doesn't matter to us. A DAO does not just be on Ethereum, it could be on anything. So we've established that a DAO is a decentralized autonomous organization. It has these three features, and autonomous means it's governed by code. Let's define organization just for the sake of it. So this could be anything like, let's see if we make it a bit smaller. So device, it could be a community, it could be a company, it could be a protocol, it could be an app, it could be a club, it could be anything we want here. And think of you can use your creativity here as well. What do we mean by decentralized? Well, we mean no central party has control over it or its rule set, let's say. So we've got a fairly nice looking definition of what a DAO is kind of over here. But what does this mean in reality? What are some examples of DAOs? Well, let's break off here. So typically you have, let's go over here. Typically you kind of have a few different, actually we can link it to organization. So let's go. So feel free in chat to give me some examples, but I'm going to broadly give you, I would say, the main types. So one is communities. Two is funds, investment funds. And three is protocols. I would say these are the main three types of DAO we currently see, and each of them are more, some of them are more interesting than the other. So stop, my girlfriend's currently trying to call me. So a fund would be something like, let's say, MCV, Meta Cartel Ventures, or BitDAO. Very excited. I don't know why. Let's use BitDAO as the actual example as the sponsors of this program. Yeah, Gitcoin we'll talk about in a moment. They're more of a protocol or community. So BitDAO, its purpose is to invest in stuff, and the method by which it does so is a decentralized government mechanism facilitated by smart contracts. People who have the token are able to vote. A protocol would be the example of something like Aave. So let's say, Aave. So what's happening here is, what the protocol is doing is using the DAO structure to make decisions about the direction of the protocol. And basically the DAO here is just like a decentralized governance structure effectively. Communities are slightly different. Communities is basically giving a, yes, I'm going to say, I don't know how to save the board, but I'm going to say it's board and we'll share it afterwards. Communities are things like I'm going to say purpose groups or social groups. I'll make the text board there. Purpose groups, social groups, clubs. And I think that Gitcoin is a better example here, but I mean things like, and we can go a bit further, I think things like friends with benefits, DAO, Constitution DAO, which we'll talk about in a moment, and maybe another example would be another good Save Ukraine DAO. So focused on a particular thing and kind of controlling the community to that end. So we've got various different things about what DAO could be. The end result, I think, is a kind of, where we can put this here. The end result of a DAO, though, is to effectively be the company of the future. This is what we want a DAO to be, ideally. This is actually the end goal. It's like all of these things here facilitate this. And I think there's another kind of, there's two, I think, implicit assumptions. Yeah, sorry, there just is a DAO with Ukraine. That was why. I'm not making any, well, I'll make my geopolitics very clear. I'm very much with Ukraine. I don't think anyone's not with Ukraine. There's two implicit assumptions, I think, with DAOs that I think come with here. The first is basically to say, that companies will big companies, big tech companies, will be replaced by protocols. And the second thing to say is that we want democratic, community-run governance. And I don't think in all cases we want this. Like, there are some cases we don't. But basically the idea here is that tech is so powerful that tech should be open source, it should be decentralized, and it should be run with it should be run not as a profit center for the sake of the technology. And the second thing is, because of this, that we want kind of everyone to participate in the governance process. We don't want it to be captured with a few set individuals. So I think this is kind of very important. So we've got a very neat, nice kind of way of looking things. Maybe I can, how do you scroll up this thing? A neat, nice way of looking things so far, which gives you a summary of what DAOs are. The issue is that, let's maybe kind of go down here. The issue is that DAOs are hard. And I think there's a few reasons why they're kind of tough, and I think offer you a lot of chance to kind of innovate. So why are they hard? And feel free to volunteer stuff as I'm talking, by the way. I don't want to be kind of too fixed. So one reason they're hard is democracy is hard. Governing is hard. Governing with a lot of people is a hard thing to do. So if a DAO naturally has kind of governance, democratic governance, and it's run by code and it's kind of run by its community, has lots of different people participating, then you're going to run into the same problems we have democracy. And so one of the only things I know well in this world is politics. The only thing I did to a high level academically, and there's a fairly kind of easy argument here, which is that direct democracy, everyone participates, died with the Athenians, except for kind of small examples like referendums. One reason that direct democracy is hard. The second reason democracy is hard is because crypto hasn't really worked out how to do representative democracy. So who represents me? You absolutely can, but I don't think crypto has come up with good ways of doing it. I haven't seen a good example yet. And the reason democracy is hard in crypto is because even in, or democracy is hard in general, even in modern society, modern kind of advanced society, we still have very imperfect forms of democracy. So look at the US and the UK as kind of two very good examples. So democracy is hard. So even if you're kind of basing it on assumptions that like we want to put democratic processes in, it's not an obvious thing about what you do, and that's before you get to the tech. The other reason DAOs are hard is well, there's two factors here, and I think these are the ones that kind of I think give you most food for thought. First one is legally. Like, what is a DAO? What is a DAO legally? There's a few kind of answers here. One, I'm going to scroll in. One is it could be a foundation, kind of an offshore foundation, almost like a charity. That's one solution. Two, it could be like an unincorporated entity. So there's no legal status to it. Three, it could be like a partnership. It could be a company with lots of owners. But like very quickly, there's a kind of a big problem with all of these, as I just seek to arrange these very fast. Do you lose democracy? No, they aren't flexible. Well, you're kind of getting there. Anyone else? Well, the real problem with them is that they don't protect the individual. Like the whole point of a DAO is no individual is also liable. No individual is like liable for the DAO itself, and you don't want to dox anyone. You can't dox in crypto. So how can you avoid like doxing, and also avoiding kind of points of failure in KYCing people? So like the big issue here with all of this is that if you're gonna have these structures, you kind of need to like reveal who the individuals in DAOs are, and that's a problem. And you also need to make people liable to like if stuff goes wrong, and again, that's a problem. Like these are two big problems. Let me just put it here. And I'm going to say this now. No one has come up with a solution yet, really, of how to do this properly. There's one thing I just want to say on this, which is that the alternative would be to kind of have the alternative would be don't incorporate, but then you can't be a legal entity, which stops you hiring and investing and doing most normal organizational things as a DAO. So this is the problem with this. So I'll just put this as but. I would say this whole section here, no one has solved it. Maybe it's not for this hackathon's innovation, but maybe there like it's something here. But like a huge problem. Don't forget this. This is like a place to go philosophical point. This is a legal point. This has not been solved yet. So the third reason DAOs are hard, which gives you the most opportunity, is the tech infrastructure is immature. This, I think, is basically the whole point of this hackathon, is the tech infrastructure behind behind DAOs is extremely immature. So what do I mean? One, well, we're not going to do one. There's no clear leading platform to build a DAO. It will be recorded, Rashid. Two, governance is messy, which we'll talk about in a moment. Three, what else? Over-reliance on Discord and Web2 tech for communication. And four, what else? So there's no clear platform to build a DAO. Governance is messy, over-reliance on Web2, and we could probably say it's difficult to integrate DAOs with Web3 Legos. So I'll talk about each of these in due course, but these are basically the opportunity of the hackathon. The whole ideation kind of comes here, I would say. Okay, so first, there's no clear platform to kind of build a DAO. There are platforms like DAO House, Clear Leader. There is DAO. I want to make it small. Go smaller, some. DAO House. There's Aragon. Like what we want here is, use this. Is one. Yeah, we will. Is one platform where I can create and manage the whole DAO process. This doesn't exist. If someone wants to build this, like I'd be very happy. I would invest in this tomorrow. There's just like DAO House is the closest, but it's not great in my opinion. It could be much better. So what we want here is one platform. So I'm going to put a little section below, which is things I'd like to see. And the first one is like this. Secondly, governance is messy. So right now you have kind of a flow which goes like this. You use Snapshot to do voting. So Snapshot is a platform where you can, Joanne, what are you talking about? DAO House or Snapshot? I'll talk about DAO House in a moment. This is where you can basically sign transactions to vote, where one vote equals one token equals one vote, basically. It is just very basic Snapshot. I'll give you a very good example. Snapshots, there's a company come out of Encode called Float Protocol, which basically wanted to do like multi-preference voting. So instead of being like, I want to vote for one option, I have 100 points, I want to allocate those votes across different options. They actually they forked and rebuilt Snapshot into Scattershot in like a weekend. It's not very sophisticated. It's good, everyone uses it, but this is not like the be all and end all, I think, of like voting in crypto. So we currently use Snapshot to do voting. We currently use something called Gnosis Safe as a multi-sig. We currently use, I'm going to use those. These are basically the two things we use, and then we end up using Web2 tech for most DAOs. Do you know what? I don't know if it is Shiva. I must be, but maybe not. Web2 tech for most communication. And this just is clunky, because if I want to like pass something through as like Aave, I have to do like a discussion on Discord, then do this thing on forum, which is terrible. So if I like, let's see if I find it. This is Web2 tech. This is the forum for discussing proposals in depth on like Aave, which is a protocol worth billions. It's just pathetic. So, and then I have to go to snapshots to a vote, and then like they recommend something to the multi-sig. And multi-sig, for those who don't know, is basically a smart contract where multiple people have to sign a transaction for it to execute. So it's a good way of like managing a ton of money without problems. So then it's just a clunky process. I'd go Discord to forum to snapshots and those are safe. Like, why isn't this all one process? So I would like to see either better versions of snapshot. Actually, I'll answer your question in a sec. I'd like to see better versions of snapshot and notice is safe. I like notice is safe, by the way. Everyone uses it. Everyone uses snapshot. Or an integrated platform. So this is one thing. So over-reliance to Web2 tech. So everyone uses Discord. So if Discord goes down, crypto goes down. Same for Telegram, by the way, and same for Twitter. And we also have this thing called forum, forum.x, which is this. Both are terrible. So I would love to see, so maybe a decentralized Discord with a Web3 login. I'll talk about that in a second. And we're also better forum functionality. And the win would be kind of integrate decentralized Discord with voting and execution. Great questions, guys. I'll come to them in a second. So these are again things I like to see. Difficulty to integrate DAOs and Web3 Legos. So what I want to be able to do is if I have a treasury, I want to kind of be able to access lending products. So I basically want to use DeFi, NFTs. I want to have better ideas of decentralized identity. You can't really do this stuff now. Like if you've got you have to do it very manually. If you have a treasury for a DAO that was like $1 billion, you'd have to kind of physically like do the transaction to put it on Arvo with notice safe. It's just like a bit of, we'll talk about, okay, that's good. We'll talk about lens in a bit. So what I'd love to see is like a kind of DAO marketplace for DeFi. Let's say the OpenSea for DAOs. So it's already starting to see things that you can build. And I think some really good kind of startup ideas can slightly emerge. See if this is playable what I'm doing. Yeah, I think you can kind of see some startup ideas start to emerge as well, which is very much the intention of this talk, to give you things that could be such good ideas that they could become companies. Hopefully that gives you some first thoughts. We're going to go a bit further now. So why don't I like DAO House? So I've tried it. Just feel very clunky, honestly. That was the reason. It was a user experience thing. It's like if anyone's ever used a prediction market, this is so bad, these lines. If anyone's ever used a prediction market on crypto, you're just like, or if anyone's ever done betting in real life, that is a shit show compared to crypto. But crypto betting is, this is my talk, just like knotted in stuff. Crypto betting is really clunky and normal betting is really silky smooth. Like, why is this the case? I feel like that's DAO House. It's like, it kind of works, but like, really, is this it? I love DAO House is the best out there and you can do lots of good things. It's just, I feel like we can do better. It also runs a layer 2, which is great, but a bit kind of clunky. So that's just my reason. I think we can do better. At least we can have alternatives much easier. I'm killing all these stupid lines now. That's really pissed me off. Please, can someone build a decentralized Discord? I'd invest in that tomorrow, but make it good. And please add threads. Lens protocol. Let's see about Lens protocol. Yeah, it's like a social thing. This is quite nice. I haven't actually tried it yet. It's going to be a social media platform in crypto. I haven't tried it. It's supposed to be good. How do you dissolve a DAO? Well, with difficulty. So normally DAOs, because I mean that's the other thing I should really put here. There's an assumption as well. Maybe we can put a third assumption that people are pseudo-anonymous because people are addresses. And you can reveal who your identity is, but like you don't have to kind of reveal it. I think that creates real problems with turning this into a kind of Web2 organization. Oh, so how do you dissolve a DAO? That's actually very funny. How do you dissolve a DAO? So normally there's something called an eject button, which you just leave. And if you've got to share the funds, you can take share of the funds. Again, because this is governed by code, this is quite easy to do so. But what I would say is that that's not dissolving, that's leaving. If you want to dissolve, you'd have to kind of like pass a vote in governance and then like get everyone to agree and then send the funds and then burn the address. So yeah. Can founders core team lose control and ownership by founding a DAO? Yeah, I mean, like, so normally a DAO, you might be like, okay, so how are shares represented? So typically what you would have is, let's just, we can put it on here, we'll put it up here. You would have typically some sort of membership token, which might be untransferable. By this, I mean you are issued like an NFT or just a token that's not transferable that it signifies your membership. So I can't send it to Steve. I can't send my membership token to Steve to be a member. Because that's not the point, because they don't want to be a traded asset. It represents kind of your membership linked to your identity. So the issue with that is like a DAO will typically not will have members and it's run by its members. So if the founding team, you'd expect for a big DAO, the founding team would be kind of fairly small. Yeah, you could lose control very quickly. And there's no examples of this because typically communities still have control, but like I think it's quite important to know that you're not, it's supposed to be a decentralized autonomous organization. You can't, this looks quite pretty. You can't have centralized control. I don't know how DAO house prices, I must admit. Do you need to set up KYC? No, if it was an investment DAO, I suspect they might do so. There was an assumption, where have I put it here, that you don't want to, the problem with doing anything that looks like a legal entity is you have to dox the individuals. You have to reveal individual identity, which is against pseudo-anonymity, which means it is against permissionlessness, which becomes problematic. I fundamentally don't think there is a structure. I don't think, this is a very strong word, I don't think there is a structure that exists now that clearly fits a DAO. I think shoehorning DAOs into Web 2 or like the traditional world is going to be really hard. They are a Web 3 concept that should be used for these things, which by the way, this raises loads of other problems, which is, so if you can't cleanly have a legal entity, how can you, oh my God, I forgot my point. Oh no, I forgot my point. That's terrible. Oh no. I'll just put this. How can you engage outside Web3? This is, I think, the major problem with DAOs moving forward. Mirror is quite cool. Mirror is like a blogging platform, basically. How DAOs distribute the rewards to members? Because some are... see, I think you're particularly talking about investment DAOs. And typically, where is it? Up here, investment DAOs, funds. And typically, everyone participates in every deal. So if a particular committee, it's one pot of money. So if the committee or the governance method that was chosen decide to invest in something, everyone participates fairly in it. There's other issues, which is so the issue is you can't engage outside Web3, which means like hiring, and I've put it here, but hiring and investing in non-tokens is pretty much impossible. By the way, just as an aside, funny story, most established DAOs are actually just companies run by a small number of members with kind of DAO democracy fakely, or let's say DAO democracy. Yeah, by small number with DAO democracy, used but not insured. Let's put it that way. Say Constitution DAO. So was this such example? Constitution DAO was just run by some members, and the money actually went to them. And they gave it back in the end, but you know what I mean. Okay, I'm fairly happy with where we got to, which it looks very pretty, doesn't it? Well done, me. I should probably add color next time. I will send this. I'll PDF this. So in terms of ideas, I want you to focus on this area, which is like doing stuff around, I guess if I could give you some takeaway remarks, basically it's communications, that's messaging. It's communication messaging, it's governance and voting. And I would say the last thing is kind of like, I guess identity. Identity is quite important. I would say use integrations into DAOs. It depends on the DAO. Usually there'll be a token. The DAO will have its own token, which is kind of its reward that separates the membership token. And obviously if it's investment DAO, they'll just distribute profit. I will say a couple more things before we finish, which I think are quite important about this hackathon, which you should know. One is you can build on any chain, which I think is very important. Two, you can build your own DAO or create tooling, or both, I guess. And three, if you create something awesome, we at BitDAO would invest. And these are three kind of very important things that I think should motivate what you're kind of building during this event, really. And particularly you can build any chain, because like a basic thing would just be like snapshot or notice safe on like, maybe I can put this here. Easy ideas. I would build like, why did I put them all over there? Any ETH DAO tooling another chain would be like a fairly simple thing to do. Yeah, they do. So all of them use Discord, all you use the thing called Forum, which I've showed you here. This is Web 2. It's a joke. So that's my like top tips. I would be like, but I would make like Gnosis safe on Solana, and that would raise a lot of money. Would be my way of doing it. Discord is not open source. So you're like, that's why I'd love to see a decentralized Discord built on this hackathon. Okay, guys, thank you very much. This has been the Ideation event. We'll be announcing some more events in times to come. If you have any questions, please can you go to my Twitter and feel free to ping me. And do mention you've been at this event. This event will be put onto YouTube and onto we'll put onto YouTube and we'll upload it. This and my lovely little spider diagram will be uploaded as well. In the meantime, thank you very much, guys. Have a wonderful. We've got when's that event? When's the Hack Performance Bonds event? Steve?
Tomorrow we will have the event at 6:30 GMT, Wednesday, March 9th.
Very good.
Please show up for
guys.
the performance bonds workshop. We'll be having a great from BitDAO there to talk to you guys and great info.
Fantastic. That is straight after our Fred Destin AMA, if anyone wants to come. That is our Fred Destin AMA, which is also happening right before that as well. If anyone wants to listen to one of the top VCs in Web 2, actually, come and share their views about crypto. All right, so guys, any other questions for now?
Yeah, thanks for the great session. So I have like two small questions. First is for the DAO tooling category, I had developed some idea during ETH Denver about a DAO aggregation tool. Is it allowed to develop
Yeah,
the idea
absolutely.
further?
We've absolutely as long as you've not received like significant public funding or private funding, we'll happily see it. Please do continue and work on it during our hackathon.
Awesome. And there was another category for DAO creation.
Yeah.
So I created like a Discord group with my friends last December but we haven't like legally formed the DAO. So are we allowed, or we need to start a community from scratch?
No, start community. I would say we're going to really assessing it's not really, we don't really matter what the DAO is. We're looking at things like strength of community, honestly, and like what if you've built any tooling for yourself or any cool things as part of it. So it doesn't matter when it's created. It does matter strength of community or is it a really cool initiative?
Thank you very much.
Excellent. Any other things? Is that Discord for DAO tooling or start? Is the same Discord for DAO tooling or starting a DAO? So what I was saying is if someone would like to build a decentralized Discord for the DAO tooling one, that'd be great. And you can use normal Discord if you're building your own DAO. Questions, guys, please do also book in for a one-on-one with Steve, who will happily talk to you about your idea and help you get onboarded into the hackathon as well, if you're not already. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful evening and see you soon. Thanks, guys.